All right, I wasn't familiar with this song, but I like it. This is Stranglehold by Ted Nugent. This is definitely staying on my list here, by the way. I'm Aaron McWilliams. Good afternoon. And with me, I've got John and Tim from Rydell. I had to stand up in my chair because I'm just not smart enough to remember your name after like 10 seconds. Welcome to the studio, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, all right, so now you guys are from the body shop, is that right?
Right, Rydell Body Shop.
Rydell Body Shop. Now, so you guys do everything then?
Everything related to body. So, glass, paint, metalwork, PDR, calibrations, all that kind of stuff.
So if I come in, you're going to make my body look awesome.
Well,
you're right. There is no hope for that. But at least my truck or my car, you'd make that look better, though, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
So all the scratches, all the dings, all the dents. Now, here's a really weird thing. So it's mostly plastic now. I mean, are there dings and dents now, or is there cracks and folds, and you rip it off and you put a new piece of plastic on?
A lot of the bumpers and there's a lot of trim on the lower end of the door and around the wheel well. All those you would typically replace right away if they get torn or cracked. But then a lot of new vehicles now they've been swapping over to aluminum.
Okay.
But there still is a lot of plastic and composite.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you could possibly pull a dent out or a fold out of a plastic bumper, just depending how bad it is.
So would it ever be the same? I mean, if you pull out like a fold in plastic, would it ever actually look the same, or is there always going to be like a little crease in there?
I mean, typically we can get it to look pretty spot on to what it would look like out of the factory.
Yeah, we got some very good technicians that have been doing it for a very long time, and you'd be surprised at how much how much better it even looks after they're done with it. So,
well, I see. For me, I call it my humility mark. You know, it's because it never fails. After 2 weeks, you get a vehicle, and then all of a sudden, you get the little ding on it. You're like, all right, there's my humility mark. Because I can't drive a perfectly, conditioned, beautiful, brand new Toyota Tundra that I got from Rydell, from you guys. I love my truck, by the way. Absolutely love my truck. And I run a sawmill. We all know that. And I've got my truck parked, I don't know, it's got to be like 50 feet back or something. And I'm moving this whole giant pile of wood with my grapple bucket and my skid steer. And this thing springs back. And it's one of those things John, you almost see it like in slow motion, where you see this thing bend back and then it goes fling. And I see it like in slow motion, this piece of wood just tumbling through the air, like 50 feet, 70 feet. I don't know. May have been a mile. Okay. And it goes ding. And it punches a hole right in my bumper. It's like 2 weeks, man. I had the truck 2 weeks. So as long as you don't look at the front right of my truck, it's a really good-looking truck. You're like, man, Aaron's doing awesome. And then you say, nah, that's his humility mark right there. So, because I'm looking, there's like 2 or 3 panels that this stupid thing impacted. It's dumb. It busted out my headlight, okay? It busted a hole in it was ridiculous. I don't know what it's going to cost me to fix it. I haven't turned it into the insurance. That was like a year ago.
Well, you could bring it to our shop, and we'll give you a quick estimate. It's free.
So tell me about that. So now, would you guys go out and do an inspection or something on site, or you've got to bring it to y'all? How does that work?
Well, typically it's all done in person. There are instances though that depending on what type of damage it is, we can do it through pictures that you can send in.
Okay.
But we don't normally recommend that because we can't look behind things. But it's normally in person in the shop where our estimators give you a much better accurate estimate. So
interesting. So Tim, talk to me a little bit about the frame. I mean, I know on a lot of vehicles now it's unibody kind of frame. Do y'all have the capacity to kind of straighten those frames out and to pull it out and piece a car back together? Or do they crunch in so much that, have we hit to the point where the cars are so safe with all the airbags that it makes it more difficult to fix? What's kind of that balance there?
Yeah,
what does that look like?
It could be, we have the tools, the equipment, the skills and training to pretty much put a car back together from the frame up. Even if the frame is bent a little bit or a little bit crooked, we have the tools to straighten it back out. It's just one of those things where there's a lot of there's a lot of electronic parts in these bumpers nowadays. A lot of it is, if it gets to the frame, you got in a pretty serious accident. So typically, we always see is the kind of the parts that are meant to be, kind of impacted. But if it does reach the frame, a lot of the times it's a much bigger repair, and sometimes the insurance company doesn't even want to pay for it. They'll usually total it out depending how much frame damage is done on it. So
interesting. 775-5559. That's 775-5559. I'm talking to John and Tim from Rydell Body Shop. So if you've got a scrape or a scratch or what about keying? Like, do you guys fix keying? Is that a thing anymore? You used to hear about this.
I actually fixed the truck that some dude may or may not have upset the wrong person, and his truck got keyed.
Really?
Yeah.
It seems like back in the 90s, like you would hear this all the time. Oh, my car got keyed. Now, I mean, or do we just resort to slashing tires or ramming the car? I mean, what is it now?
Well, I also think it's, some people they just don't have the energy anymore to key cars or pop tires. So you don't see that as much as what we used to.
So your contention is that people are so lazy now that they don't even bother to key your car. They'll just slander you online.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's also like a lot more surveillance now.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. That is true. So we have gotten too surveyed in our country and too tuned in to social media and our phones that we can't pick up our head and bother to key a guy's car anymore.
Yeah, but like John said though, almost everything anywhere you go, you're going to be on camera, from a door camera, or even some cars have cameras built into them where they turn on the second someone touches it. So it's a risky game you're playing.
Yeah,
that's true. So think before you key.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. You've got to think before you key that car. But if you do, and you're paying for it, or you're the victim of somebody keying your car, call the guys over at Rydell. All right, we've got a texter at 775-5559. It says, what's the turnaround time for a couple of window chips?
Well, I mean, a couple of window chips, an hour, maybe two, depending just how busy you are. But we got a lot of people that could fix those, so it's usually in and out pretty quickly.
Okay, what's the break point? Okay, like you're looking at a chip and you're like, yeah, I think we can do something with that, or like, no, you should have brought this in 3 years ago. Kind of thing.
It depends how deep the chip is and whether or not it's cracking. Because if it's cracking more than like half an inch, there's no saving it.
Yeah, and not only that, it's also it greatly depends, because some people have an expectation that's going to look exactly brand new, right? You're still going to see a little bit of a chip in there, even when we fill it in with the resin. But the second it starts to spider web out, there's nothing we're going to be able to do to fix that. Then we have to replace the entire windshield. Okay.
All right. Texter writes in 775-5559. This guy makes a good point. I don't know why I didn't think about this. Maybe I'm still just actually stuck in the 90s sometime. Okay. Nobody has keys anymore. Everybody's got key fobs.
I didn't think of that.
That is a very good point.
That's a really good point, right?
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, I don't know how you would fob somebody.
Well, there is a key in that fob, though. You could take the key out of that fob.
Yeah, that's way too much work.
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's way too much work. And a lot of people don't even know how to take out the stupid key.
Yeah.
Or rather, it fell out and they don't know where it is.
Right. Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
All right. Texter writes in and says, do y'all buy the book or actual shop hours?
What was the question?
Okay. I think what he's asking is that when you look at a project and you're saying, okay, I got to replace this bumper, and you've got a book that says, hey, it should take you 2.5 hours to do this. Do y'all bill out by the book, or do you bill out by the actual amount of time that it takes you to do it?
So we bill out through we have a software, it's called CCC, that does the audit, the estimation for us, and it's industry standard of how long something would take to repair, and that's what we go by. We go by what the software tells us, how long it's going to take to replace a bumper, and that's what we charge.
So for better or for worse. So it took you all day, and it says it should have taken you an hour. Well, congratulations, you're on the winning side of that.
Right, yeah. We would only charge you an hour because that's what the insurance company is going to pay for anyway.
Okay. All right. So you just hope, as the repair guys, that's all it takes, and you're hoping to beat the clock, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Right. So how often do you guys actually beat the clock versus, how close is it?
It's pretty close. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of very experienced technicians in our shop. the going thing is that you got to make sure you do it by the repair procedure. So it's pretty close. Sometimes we're ahead of schedule, sometimes we're right on, and sometimes we're a little bit over. It just depends on what the repairs. And anytime even when you go to in your garage or replace brakes, you say it's going to take an hour. Next thing you know, you're in there for a week and a half because you bent a bunch of bolts or you snapped a line. So it just depends.
Okay. All right, next question, 775-5559. Texter writes in and says, does Rydell do rust repair?
We do not, no.
No.
I mean, for rust repair, from what I know about rust, really you're cutting out.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. You're the experts. But, at that point, wouldn't you be just cutting out until you're past that and you're into good metal and then re-welding it at that point?
Yeah, and that's more of a restoration than it is collision repair.
Okay.
So that's anytime customers come in and ask that question, we're a collision repair shop, not a restoration shop. So while that's just rust is such a Pandora's box of problems that
it may be just like a 2-inch spot at the bottom of your fender, and you may say, yeah, we can do that, but then we start cutting in the metal, and then it's halfway up the fender,
right.
And then there's like no point in saving it.
Right.
You wouldn't happen to be talking about like Chevy trucks, would you?
Well, no.
Oh, no. Oops, sorry. Shouldn't have said that. Texter writes in and says, can color-matched pickup bumpers be repainted or paint chips?
Yes.
We could do both, technically.
All right.
We could fix the chips, and we could repaint.
All right. More to come right after this. You're back no more. All right, come on now.
I'll sing Stranglehold and put that back on.
Yeah.
All right, you're listening to Car Talk with Rydell. I've got Tim and John in the studio. I am Aaron McWilliams in the afternoon. Great to be here with you this afternoon. So if you have questions, if you've got that ding, that chip in your bumper, that scrape on the side of your car because you backed your skid steer into your Prius, not that I've ever done that, or, if you backed into a lawnmower, not that I've ever done that either. These are the guys to ask at 775-5559. All right, let's get to a couple of questions here before we actually hit the road. Texter writes in and says, hey, John, just wanted to say I love you. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thanks.
He is doing great. He's a good guy.
It's from your mom. She loves you, by the way. That's always a good thing. Yeah. All right, next text, 775-5559, says, what is the best wax or coating available to protect and shine newer vehicles? This is for the Rydell guys. That's good because I don't have a clue.
I would recommend a ceramic coating if your vehicle is like black especially. That helps a lot. But I would say for like buffing, we use Wizard.
Wizard.
Yeah, there's a brand of buffing compound called Wizard. That's what we typically use, or 3M.
Yeah, 3M, yeah. But the best way, I think if you really want to make sure you keep that shine is to do that ceramic coating, which is actually pretty neat. So,
all right, you got to tell me more about the ceramic coating. The image that comes to my head, okay, is like my truck is going to look like a coffee mug. Okay, that's like the image in my head, which of course might cover up the fact that I had a random stray piece of wood randomly poke its head through my bumper. So maybe if I had a ceramic coating, it would be so tough that my stupid piece of wood it wouldn't have busted out my bumper. Is that what you're saying?
I think the wood probably still would have caused damage. It's more or less to make sure you don't get those fine scratches, or that if someone were to ding your door with their door, as long as it wasn't too hard, it wouldn't really affect it too much. It's more or less just to save the paint from, the elements, more or less.
That's cool. Now, when I hear ceramic coating, though, in all seriousness, like I'm thinking about like almost a thick goop of something that's baked onto your car. Like, what does this actually look like? What is this?
Well, maybe John could explain it better. I'm only going to say this one thing. Like a few years back, right, when you went to go buy a new cell phone, they had this thing. They'd put this liquid on your screen, and it would say that it would protect your screen much like a screen protector would.
Okay.
They don't do it anymore, but that's essentially what the ceramic coating is you put like this thin coat of some type of a liquid on there, and you can't really even tell, but it hardens. And so it doesn't look like a ceramic, like a mug. We're not going to put it in a kiln or anything.
Right.
But it's more or less just a layer of what you would almost like a clear wax that somewhat hardens over it, that protects the paint from it.
All right. Texter writes in 775-5559 says a ceramic coating is essentially a micro layer of glass
Right, yeah.
over your paint.
Right, yeah.
So I live down two gravel roads, right? You got to take one gravel road, then you turn, you take the next one. Then you turn down my driveway, and that's practically another gravel road because it's so long. Okay, I get, now when you're on a gravel road, you get all these little rock chips, you get all the dust and everything. Is that something that would help protect my paint job on my car?
It depends how severe this gravel road is.
Right, yeah. I mean,
I would say it definitely would help.
It would help for sure. It's not like it's not gonna. The more you beat on it with rocks, the weaker it'll get. So it's all a matter of how severe, like how John was saying, is. So,
the other thing I was always thought about, like with gravel roads, I don't know if you remember like this MythBusters episode that it was like, okay, do you drive slow or do you drive fast on a gravel road, and which one's actually better for your car? Because there seems to almost be in certain gravel roads that there's like a median that it's like if I drive slower, it almost feels like I'm kicking up more rocks on my car than if I'm driving really slow or if I just go for it. What do you think?
I wouldn't recommend going too fast on a gravel road.
You mean, so would you cap it at like 90 or would you push it all the way to 100? What do you think?
I think I'd cap it at 45.
Oh, well,
But
I mean, some of us like to live a little dangerously and go to 46, but still.
I would imagine the faster you would go, being that it's more of a torque on the ground with the rocks and whatnot, it would throw the rocks more straight out than when you're going slow and your wheels picking up the rocks and throwing it towards your vehicle.
Yeah.
I like that logic. You see, this is why you go to the guys at Rydell. John's going to hook you up. He knows his stuff. 775-5559. Texter writes in and says, can you use ceramic coat on older vehicles?
Yeah,
sure.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one for you. Can you use a ceramic coat on fiberglass?
Yeah,
I would imagine
so.
Yeah,
Why not?
I don't see why you wouldn't be able.
All right. Now, specifically a sailboat. Can I put a ceramic coating on my sailboat?
I mean, you could go ahead and try. I mean, I don't think it's going to do any harm.
I'm pretty sure that they make specific things for sailboats in those sense of deals, but I would imagine you could ceramic coat a sailboat. Yeah,
that would be kind of cool. Or what about do you guys ever do like the Rhino bed liners? Y'all do the Rhino liners?
Oh, we don't do them in the shop. We sublet that to a local shop that does the bed liners and things like that.
That's cool. All right, Texter writes in and says, best auto body shop in town. Appreciate you guys and love you, John, from Jerry. So
thank you.
Jerry's totally listening.
Yeah.
So how long have you been at the body shop?
I've been there for, come June, I believe, 3 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
I've been there for a total of 2.5 years now.
All right. So what's the worst? We've got about 2 minutes left here. What's the worst thing that you've seen and just the greatest turnaround that you've seen or been a part of?
I would say an entire frame swap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me about that. That obviously was not like a unibody frame, so an entire frame swap. Tell me about that.
It was a GM truck, and basically we had to take off everything from the frame up off of the old frame and then put everything back exactly where it needed to be onto the new frame.
So like the engine and everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so you just rebuilt the entire vehicle.
Basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting that at that point it wasn't totaled.
Well, a lot has to do with how
or
much. Or
maybe it was, and you just decided to go.
No. It has a lot to do with how much a car is worth and how much the repair costs. So let's say if it was like a brand new 3500, that costs you
$100,000.
Yeah, $100,000, and the repair is $50,000. The insurance company's going to cover it. So.
Oh, interesting. So, what's the most expensive vehicle you guys have ever fixed?
We have a couple Mercedes in there, a couple Audis. I mean,
yeah, we've had some a Roush.
Yeah, Roush. But
I don't even know. All right, so you see, that's so pricey. I don't even know what that is. You say Roush, and that seems like some stupid college term.
No, it's a type of Mustang.
It's a Mustang, but it's built specifically by a company named Roush.
All right, now I have to look this up. I've never even heard of this.
Well,
you guys ever seen like a Lamborghini or Maserati or anything like that?
Maybe no Teslas. I mean, but we also have the the Cadillac Escalades, the one like the V ones that are $150,000 that come through there.
Okay,
those ones are really cool because all four tires turn. It's pretty cool.
Oh, really? Like all wheel steering?
Yeah.
No way.
I saw it for the first time yesterday, actually.
Oh, that's really cool. I want to drive one. I mean, I wonder if they would just let me take it for a test drive. I just want to test drive. I'm not going to buy it. I probably shouldn't tell them that, though.
No, yeah, we'll let them know. We'll let them know.
No. See, now my cover is blown. You can't tell anybody. I'm going to go in and just want to drive the thing around. That's cool. Fellas, thank you so much for coming in. We love having you guys in. If y'all have any questions, you got a ding, you got a dent, you got something going on in your car, you just want to get it checked out, talk to the guys over at Rydell. Go see my friends Tim and John. They'll hook you up. So how do they contact you? You got a number for them?
Yeah, number is 701-792-2846, and we're at 1502 28th Avenue South.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a wonderful